PR may push you, but you had the right and the wrong. Like you. Okay.
I'm going to be super fucking honest, and I might get my ass in trouble from CBS. But at this point, I don't give a fuck because guess what? CBS came up with that line. They wanted to continue this narrative.
I don't know if like you came from a place of insecurity.
At that point, I felt guilty because I was like, oh shit, like I said some fucked up stuff about her.
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. And today we'll be talking about Big Brother.
And we'll be looking at the recent live that Indy and Paloma did, basically discussing the whole situation with Taylor and the beef. And basically, Indy's trying to get Paloma to be accountable. And let's see how that goes. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, want it, securing the bag.
Because that's how life works. It's karma. Like the table always turn around, and it's like it's hurtful. I know, like I'm not here to be Taylor's lawyer, but I just tell you that. But I get to know Taylor on my last week of in the show. Thank God, and especially because she was spending more time with Joseph. Joseph is my best friend, like since they, and
I'm not saying she's a bad person at all. At the end, did we like have a breakthrough? Yes. And then at that point, let me tell you, at that point I felt guilty. At that point I felt guilty because I was like, oh shit, like I said some fucked up stuff about her. And there's a where I like hug her and I'm like no one's gonna go home because of bullying, or like we're not gonna have bullying in this house. But who was I talking about? Me, because I was like wow, like this is a form of bullying. So there's a clip of me saying like, and everyone's like, oh, you're such a hypocrite, you're such a hypocrite. No, it was me saying like basically I did something, like I bullied, and like we're not going to have that anymore. Like on Big Brother, like every season is someone bullying, like every season is someone being the bully. And I realized that I was saying by calling her a pageant girl, that's not right. That's like
and she's so proud of it. I would like to be a pageant girl.
Yeah, no, and I know, and she even called herself a pageant. Like the thing is I don't recognize that could be stereotyping someone and being like rude. And for me, afterwards, I realized that, and I felt guilty. So that's why I said that on the show. I ended up saying like, I'm like, no one's gonna be bullied, after I had already said a lot of mean things, because I felt guilty and I felt bad about that. And I think that the way they cut it was like kind of weird.
No,
but
is always like kind of like tricky. But if you be like calling me like, oh, a Brazilian, I'm gonna be like, I am.
So I'm happy that Paloma finally has some type of accountability, and she's recognizing what she did in the house was wrong. How and ever. When she got out the house, she did say Taylor bullied her, which was why she retaliated in doing the same thing back to Taylor. So, okay, I get that she has some type of enlightenment now, but beforehand, that's not what you were saying. Because if we really want to talk about it, let's really talk about what Paloma said. Like, she said that she did not like Taylor, and which is fine. Not everybody's going to be cool with each other. But at the end of the day, you said it. You need to stand on exactly what you said. Because, and even with Indy, I'm like, I'm happy that they're having this conversation, and I'm not judging them on like them being a bad person or whatever. But with Indy, I'm just like, girl, it just seems like you're trying to get the brownie points from the fans too. But who am I? Let me know what y'all think.
And I don't
exactly. So it's just what people are sensitive about and not sensitive about. But days, like everything and anything is like so.
Yeah, I think that I know like the meaning is different and the way that people take is different, and it was a lot. I saw all the clips because they made sure that I watched that on Twitter last night when I posted about our lives.
Yeah.
We're like, Indy, you need to ask this, you need to ask that, you need to ask that. And I don't know if like you came from a place of insecurity. We know like that the women's, like it's always like we have that tendency to fight against each other. And that was literally the opposite that I want to do in the house. I want to like have all of us together. I want to like make one woman like to win the show. Doesn't matter who.
No, yeah.
And that was my goal getting to the show.
To be honest, I mean, I totally agree with Indy's saying to Paloma, and I do feel like Paloma was very insecure when it pertained to Taylor, and I feel like Paloma stated that. But I'm like, Indy, like, you're talking like you were like the golden girl, like you was just like, you're talking like you didn't have any fault in it too, and I think she does basically take accountability later on in this video. But right now, I'm just like, the way she's talking, I'm just like, I mean, your hands weren't clean either when it pertained to Taylor.
And I don't know, how do you think, like, what triggered you to like
What did I say?
like for to start the comments about like, oh, she's a pageant girl and like you need to go and things like that, like.
I have to be really honest with you. The producers came up with that line for me.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute.
Okay? I'm going to be super fucking honest, and I might get my ass in trouble from CBS. But at this point, I don't give a fuck, because guess what? CBS came up with that line. They wanted to continue this narrative, and they wanted to continue for me to.
Internet's breaking.
So am I shocked that Big Brother or CBS, the producers, whoever, went into like the dining room and feed people's lines? No, like, I'm about to tell y'all a little bit of my tea a little bit. But back in 20, I auditioned for and I made it to the whole casting, like the final round casting, where you like hook yourself up to like the the interviews with the producers. So I peeped it. Maybe that's, I just peeped it. So it's just like one of those things where they ask you questions. They're like, "Hey Brian, so tell us a little bit about you," and you just tell them about yourself, and they're like, how are you in altercations? And you're just like, oh, mind you, you're being recorded, and you're just like, oh, I'm like this, I'm like that, I'm like this, I'm like that. And then they're like, how are you fighting? Describe how you will fight someone. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll punch somebody in the face, I'll do this, I'll do that. So if you get casted and then they show like your casting reel or whatever, they chop it up, and then they're like, hey, my name is Brian, I don't take shit from nobody. If somebody gets in my face, I'm gonna beat their ass, I'm gonna punch them in the face, I'm gonna do this and the third. So I get how it can be chopped up and paint you into this stereotype or this character in this light. But with Big Brother, there's a special thing that Big Brother has, which is called live feeds. Even if the producers fed you that line, you still said it on the live feeds. You didn't have to say that on the live feeds. You could have definitely just okay, whatever. And we get that Paloma was going through her whole mental situation, and I totally get that. But, however, you still said it on the live feeds, and you still brought it outside the DR. If it was a DR moment, like Miss Jasmine Butterbeans and her little country bumpkins shit, then cool. But you brought out the DR, and you gave the producers what they wanted. That's just what it is. What people have to realize going on shows like this, these producers, casting directors, don't give a fuck really about who you are as a person. They're casting you because they want you to fit into a box and a stereotype of who they want on the show. Casting people is a science behind this whole situation, down to your horoscope, down to your whole temperament, and everything in between. How you answer questions, how can you recall stories. There's so much that go into it. So a lot of people have to realize that they don't care about you like that. All they know is somebody's gonna win $750,000. That's it. You have to be very conscious and aware and know that you're actually on a TV show being recorded, and everything you say can be interpreted differently and manipulated for entertainment purposes.
Oh my DRs.
And I should have, that's it. You're right. That's it. I should have stood up and said, no, I'm not going to say that.
I always stand up. Like, they never force me to do anything. They never
force. They don't force.
Like, okay, we're gonna let's go on this way. How do you like this person? How you dislike? And I always I just don't connect with this person. If you see my DRs about Taylor, it's I just don't connect with her deeply. So I don't know what it is. And of course, I was not trying to connect. Yeah. And with my biggest regret on the game is that I didn't try. I didn't put all the girls together and and knowing okay, the DR may push you, but you had the right and the wrong. You
No, you're right. You're right. I did have the right to say no. For me, I was like, oh, that's kind of a good TV line for good TV, you know? But for me,
Your face out there, and you knew that. We signed up the contract.
no, I get that, and you're correct.
Fuck, it's my face here, honey. And like you're gonna make me say something that I don't mean it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky.
Going on shows like this where you can't control how you're being seen is very tricky. Like I said, I still want to go on Big Brother. I love Big Brother. And I am aware that, anything I do say can be construed or painted in whatever light. And a lot of people have to realize is that first week of filming is very important because that's where producers will see how we're going to play the story out. That whole week, it could have went so differently if they would have played it differently, because the producers are trying to create a story, and with a live show like Big Brother, they're trying to create a story fast. So now when people are giving them, they're feeding people lines and basically seeing like who's gonna take the bait, and then they're like, okay, boom, let's create the story. But I feel like Leroy from Real World Las Vegas and the challenge, he said it best. He was like, I know I'm conscious of what I say. I try to be very strategic with, not really strategic, but just like, if I said it, I meant it. That's what it said. It doesn't matter how it got edited, because a lot of people love going on a reality TV show talking about, oh, this editing. But it's like, even though it's editing, I mean, you still said it. And I feel like going into confessionals or DR, whatever, you have to think about what you got to say. Or just be like, you know what, I said it, I meant it, boom, that's what it is.
And I see like what you're saying, but
Yeah.
we are like, you're 22. You know how to say no already.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
okay, her parents is probably going nuts at home.
No, I know. That's what happened. I mean, they did.
Yes. And then it was like, and the same thing with Taylor, like think about how her mom and how her grandma felt like about like all of us. I'm not pulling anyone out.
I'm happy that she said all of us, because to be honest, what Paloma did to Taylor was kind of the least of Taylor's worries throughout the summer. I feel like Nicole, Terrence, and Daniel really tried to destroy that girl. And other people said like little things here and there, like Pooch said what he had to say. Amira said her little stuff about, I know her family's going to hate us. Oh, I know they hate us looking at live streams. Because everyone in that house knew that Taylor's grandma loves watching the live streams and her mom watches the live streams. So they knew that. And they still said what they said. And they acknowledged it too. But but Daniel, Nicole, Terrence, they ran her through the mud, especially Terrence, and he was in the house longer than all of them. So I'm just like, at the end of the day, I think that Nicole was the only one out of those three that apologized to Taylor, like to the face, and it just goes to show like the character, like Terrence. I mean, he really has a lot of stuff that he had to get through, because he's talking about, oh yeah, she's my sister, she's my little sister. You can't make this shit up, because it's just like, how? I would never talk to my sister the way that Terrence talked to Taylor. And we all remember the bullshit that Daniel said, yeah, I didn't watch the show. After I watch the show, I'll be able to sit down and have a conversation with Taylor. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Not trying to like her, not trying to spend time with her. I got to spend time with her the last week. And I say like,
it became, I understood her. I ended up she was bullied. She was this, like she was telling me about her life. Like she was telling me this is who I am. But it took so long to get there. And the things said in the beginning made me think of her a different way in the beginning, So for me, if I had a longer time on the show, and this is what I think, if I had a longer time on the show and was able to stick it out for like 2 or 3 weeks, me and Taylor would have become really good friends. Alyssa and I we were like, oh, Taylor should be she should be part of our alliance. Like we need to get her in, Can you hear me?
I saw literally the opposite.
Hold on. No, you're muffled. Hold on.
Moral of the story, I'm happy that both ladies took accountability. And, with Paloma, hopefully they have some type of redeeming situation where she could redeem herself. I mean, she's young. She's 22. She has so much life to live and to grow and learn from the situation. I can't dislike someone that can take accountability, because we're not all perfect. I'm not perfect. Like I said, I want to play Big Brother, and I know I'm an emotional person, and I got a motherfucking mouth on me. So I don't know how the situation is going to be with me, but I just know how the person that I am is. If I say something, I'm standing in it 10 toes down. Like, yeah, I said it. If I don't like somebody, we're not gonna all like everybody, which I get it. But it's like, to beat a dead horse, it just makes no sense. They were really just beating Taylor over and over and over, and that's figuratively, because of who she was. She didn't do shit to nobody. Now, it could be a little bit more easier to digest if she did do something to somebody. Cool. Okay, retaliation, got it. But just like, to say that, oh, she said something while you're in the shower, so you just like, you went on a diatribe and has such vitriol, everyone in the house against her, made no sense. And the sad part about it was just history repeating itself. The only difference is that Taylor took the weight on, and she won the show, rightfully so. I feel like she was so deserving to win. So I can't say anything bad about Indy or Paloma. I feel like they both did what they had to do, took accountability. Beautiful women, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments. All right, y'all. Peace.